Okay, it's winter time. It's time to get started on our big project list. Step one of which is procure coffee. We have a big list, and it's kind of complicated, so we'll start at the end and work our way to the beginning. Springtime. I'm going to need the rototiller and the wood chipper. The wood chipper, I'm going to have to build a whole chassis and a power unit for it because I really just have kind of a wood chipper head. To do that, I need to repair my welder. To load my welder, because it's too heavy for me to put in the bed of my truck myself, I need to fix the mini skid steer, which I need to get to here to the shop to do. And to move the mini skid steer, I need to repair the trailer. And to move the trailer, I have to put a transmission in my big truck because I burnt the transmission out. But before I can work on my truck, I have to fix my wife's truck. So tonight, we're going to do some wheel bearings and a couple lights on the wife's truck. And that's what we're going to do this weekend. Maybe we'll go out and we'll take stock of all the other projects. And I can start some kind of list of the logistics of ending up with a wood chipper and rototiller that work. Starting with wheel bearings tonight and a transmission in my truck this weekend. It's going to be a long winter. Okay, we're going to start with parts. Wheel bearings, low beam bulb, tail light bulb, Rock Auto. Man, I love Rock Auto. If you live in the Midwest, live out here in the Salt like I do, and you can get your parts with new hardware, always do that. I think my wife already robbed a little magnet out of here. I wonder what that means. I guess we'll never know. But we got our coffee, some coffee creamer, and why does that seem so zoomed in? We'll get the 07 jacked up, get the front tires off, some jack stands under it, we'll start taking it apart. So here we go. This is not a difficult job. All we're going to do, we're going to take the nut off for the axle shaft, get it knocked free from the splines. We get 2 bolts to pull out. We'll take the whole caliper bracket up out of the way, slip the rotor off. Then there's 3 bolts that hold the hub unit on. If you look in here, you see all this gold? It's aerosol copper anti-seize. And these brakes I just did maybe 2 months ago. I anti-seize everything. So this should all come off pretty easy. I'm not going to film me doing this whole process for a couple reasons. One, I left my tripod at home. 2, there are way better YouTube videos on how to do this. This is not a how-to. This is just me keeping my shit boxes on the road. And the important part, if I'm videoing, I can't have the stereo on because YouTube rules or something. So can't work without tunes. So check back in when I get this all tore apart. So calipers off, rotors off, took a nut off. Now this here is one of our mounting bolts. This is the thread side, it bolts in from the back side. We can see how crusty that is. We're not even going to mess around. We're going to go right to heating it up. We're gonna try to get a couple of 100 degrees in it. The rule of thumb, if I remember right, is every inch of diameter, every 100 degrees is 1,000th, 1 thou, I think, of expansion. Oh look, we're melting the ABS sensor. Don't worry, we got a new one of those on this side. It smells good. So what we're doing, we're going to get a little temperature in it, and it's going to swell just a bit and hopefully break that rust free. Then get a little spray lube in there and not hurt ourselves when we back it apart. You can see all the good crusties under here from this thing spending its whole life in Ohio. That's terrific. All right, so we got our 3 bolts off. We just heated them up, hit them with the spray lube, whatever your favorite flavor is. They came off fairly easy. I put my old nut back on, about flush, because I'm going to have to beat this axle shaft loose and then beat the hub assembly out. So I got my favorite purse. That's loose. No separation yet. This is going to take a while. A long while. Don't worry, it likes it. Oh, sorry, little buddy. Oh, we should have bungee strapped you. You stay there. Ooh, I don't think it's moving at all. I don't think it's moving at all. I think we need air tools. Well, if a little heat's good. A little spicy. There we go. I know this is a welding tip, but it's way more precise than the Rosebud, so hopefully we don't destroy anything here today. Give that a minute to let the heat soak. And then we'll commence the beating on it again. Alright, so we let the heat soak for a minute. We're going to hit it with the big purse. Got a little separation there. Can't really hit that side. I wonder if I can get it. That poor heat shield. it's moving now. It's moving now. Got her on the ropes. Oh, Jesus. It's still hot, and it's covered in anti-seize. Whew. There we go. That dust shield's had a rough go of it, but she'll be fine. Well, we can see in the bore here, that's pretty grody. This is the area that it was stuck against. So, get some emery cloth. I'm going to clean up in here. We ding that a little. I'll flush that out. Get a file and knock it down so the next one sits flat. And I'll clean all this up because this sits on the inside. It's still really hot. So we don't want any of this to gall up. So emery cloth it all down. When I put the new one together, this whole piece here, this is all going to get painted with anti-seize. We got the good, the copper stuff from the Get in Place. It's for like nuclear applications and stuff. So it's going to be great. We get this side put back together, the brakes back on it. And that brake pad that fell out, we get that'll be fine. It likes it. We'll get this side put together and we're halfway there. You know what's worse than anti-seize? Yeah. Aerosol anti-seize. With the left hand. Oh, God. Oh, no. Get the splines on our CV, on our little half shaft here, because it only makes sense that I did brakes maybe a month ago, and then immediately had to do the wheel bearings. So the next thing, the wheel bearings are new, so obviously those CV joints are the next thing to leave the chat in another month or two. I don't want those splines stuck in there when I go to do that. So that will slip her home. New bolts in the backside. Put the nut on. This is what I'm talking about. If you have the opportunity, always buy your parts kits loaded. When you get them from Rock Auto, they're pretty cheap. Ooh. So this is all the hardware for these things. There's the 3 bolts that hold it in, big washer, and the giant nut to hold the axle shaft in that bearing. These don't get a lot of torque. It is like 120 foot-pounds or something. If you put this on, if you don't follow the instructions that were written in that box, if you put this on with the impact, and you're like, oh no, it's 150, and then you back it out to the 126 or 132 or whatever it is, you will have destroyed these bearings immediately. Friend told me that. Yeah. So, we'll get passenger side put together, move over, get the driver's side knocked out. Yeah. How much spray? All of it. It's really hard to keep this in frame and do this, and that's rough. This is going to come apart easy peasy next time I got to work on this thing. We're on the home stretch now. Rotor on, brakes on, wheel on, That's it. Done. Clean up my mess. Some junk parts thrown in the scrap bin. And I'll have to sweep up my rust pile. Because it's a 250,000 mile half-ton four-wheel drive in Ohio. Of course, it's going to leave a rust pile when you work on it. That's how you know it's good. So there we go. That's step one done. We got the new wheel bearings in the 07 so that it's done. The next thing to do is going to be get the transmission in so I can go through it, so we can get the new transmission in my truck, so we can go pick up the trailer, so we can repair it, so we can go get the skid steer, so we can fix it, so I can load the welder, so I can fix it, so I can build the chassis for the wood chipper, and then find a power plant for it. And then somewhere in there, I need to get the tractor with the rototiller running properly, and it needs a service. It needs gone through belts and stuff like that, fluids. And that will get us ready for putting the garden in the springtime. In the meantime, we've still got more work to do on the house. It's almost Christmas. Probably not going to get a lot done in the next week or so. But I think that's it for this week. We got a little piece done. Small steps. We'll get there.